Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. Joining me today is Dr. Ankit Shah, and we're going to be talking about wealth redistribution, taking a look back at the past as to how Sanatana Dharma defined wealth, whether you needed to redistribute it, if not, was there any equitable method, all that and more. First, a request to all of you to please like this video, because this is not something that you're going to get at any other channel. We are positive of that. Let's now welcome Dr. Ankit Shah. Dr. Ankit Shah, namaskar. How are you, sir?
Jai Shri Ram. Pleasure to be here.
Jai Shri Ram, Dr. Shah. And remember, last time we had a conversation, we were standing in the baggage claim area at Bengaluru airport. And what a fantastic session that was. Here, Dr. Shah. Now, you've been talking about Sanatana Economics for a while, and what little I know about wealth, as in the older days, like Harappan civilization, Mohenjo-daro civilization, they had this concept of guilds. It didn't matter whether you are small or large, a small amount of what you made, whether it was ghee or rice or wheat or anything, the guild was where you deposited a part of that. This is everybody deposited that for a rainy day. So this concept of guild got formed. I remember this from a long time ago, having read and talked to many specialists. So talk to us a little bit about this redistribution of wealth. This sounds much more like, you have too much money, I have none, therefore you should give me money. What do you think?
So this is purely based on, so I should give a disclaimer, because this is based on what I observe as deep diving into what ancient Bharat used to be. Okay. So first of all, we'll talk about the two models that we have, which is capitalism and communism, and what that eventually translated into as, that 18th century industrialization where, 5% holding 90% wealth of the nation. That's what happened with Adam Smith's, what he calls as benefits of division of labor and economies of scale. Okay, that's what that translated into. And that gave birth to Karl Marx theory ke ab itra exploitation ho hi gaya, then give me freebies. Okay, so Karl Marx came as a victimhood mentality after the hegemonic Adam Smith capitalism deployed on the society. Okay, so what happens with the world is that you cannot have an economic model. This is my understanding. You cannot have an economic model where you are thinking that you are the most powerful nation in the world. You have the hegemony, which is why you will deploy your model on everybody else and label it as free market. By the way, free market never used to exist even before Adam Smith or even after Adam Smith, because even after that capitalism, obviously the businessmen required the state support or hand holding to conduct the business that they used to do. Okay, and the wipeout of what we call as of all forms of competition, which eventually happened with that Adam Smith capitalism. So which is what Chanakya also says with that Matsya Nyaya, that the bigger fish is going to eat up the smaller fish if the governance does not have that dandanity in place. Okay, and that is what capitalism did eventually in many of the governments in the West. When we see that governance is taken over by capitalists, policy decisions influenced by few capitalists who run the show. I think yesterday itself, Elon Musk put up a picture of the whole planet with an X on it, stamped on it, right? So this comes from that hegemonic mindset ke mera economic model mein bitha dunga. So that is one side. Second is the victimhood mindset, which is communism, which says that, okay, I'm going to make 60% slave population or unka wealth ka pura data leke, I'm going to snatch the wealth and then I'll redistribute to the rest of the population. Now, one comes from the hegemonic mindset where at the society level, at the individual level, you come up with 60% divorce rates. That is Adam Smith capitalism. The other comes with a victimhood mindset, which says I'm going to make 60% population my slave and redistribute the wealth. So these are not the victimhood or hegemonic. These are not the models that humanity can have. Now, what is the middle path out there? Since Karl Marx is saying that I don't want to do work, or maybe the capitalism made me workless or not productive, whatever that reasons be. He is saying that I need things for free. And the other guy who's few capitalists who's collected all the wealth. Now, since Karl Marx followers do not want to work at all, Sanatan says karma ka concept. Okay? And capitalists who are accumulating wealth so much, Sanatan says dharma ka concept. So Sanatan is cutting out capitalism with dharma and communism with karma. तो दोनों concepts Sanatan में दिए हैं. Now, how we are going to balance out today, bridge it back to what we are right now. Now, in terms of social welfare, when we look at ancient Bharat, now the responsibility of the state in terms of social welfare was mainly when crisis periods happened. So if there is a natural calamity, there is a flood, there's an earthquake, where the king will say, oh, okay, I'm going to loosen out my purse strings, I'm going to redistribute what my citizens require. So that was minimal focus on social welfare. Rest of the ancient Bharat social welfare was mainly food security with the prasadam that used to happen at the mandir premises. So the mandir premises used to look after the food security of the people. Okay, which is what I say, the mandir ecosystem. Now this is purely, major chunk of that fund comes from the community. So it is voluntary and not mandatory, which in the Adam Smith capitalism, the governments are saying that we are going to put a gun on your head, collect the tax and then distribute to the people as a vote bank. Okay, that's a reverse way of going about it. Whereas in the mandir ecosystem, it's a community which is donating the money to the mandir from where the prasadam or the food security covers up. Now, there was also a responsibility cast on the people by Dharm, saying which is the concept of atithi, someone coming to your home without announcing the tithi, without giving you the dates, some unknown person is entering your home and you are going to at least ensure food security. Okay, that's the minimum that the Indian society is supposed to do. So food security is the primary focus of the social welfare in Sanatana economics, because आपका जो body है उसको empower किया जा रहा है कि आप बाहर जाके work करो. No freebies kind of a mentality here. Okay, so you cannot show that kind of entitlement when you entering a mandir premises. You cannot show any kind of entitlement कि मेरा तो हक है ये. Okay, similarly, the person who is donating money to the mandir, neither he can show any kind of arrogance because he is giving as a devotion to the murti, right? So it is the vigraha of the mandir which is cutting out Adam Smith's arrogance and Karl Marx's entitlement. Now, besides that, I firmly do believe that social security or welfare should primarily be for the poor section of the society. So if until and unless we have the mandir ecosystem rolling back again, like it used to be in ancient Bharat, it's going to be a long-term process. I do believe that the government should have this role of empowering stuff, not the freebie stuff. So there's a difference between the two. So when I say empowering stuff, toilets falls into that. Electricity supply falls into that. Water supply falls into that. Creating an environment where you get an opportunity to conduct any kind of business idea falls into that category. So government's role should that be of a facilitator rather than giving guidance, direction, or securing any kind of business. Okay. So when the Prime Minister says that I want to remove governance from the life of the middle class, ye document do, wo document do, that all process can be digitized. Okay. So a lot of hassles to conduct business ideas freely should be removed from the society. And this should also begin from reforms in the education sector, which I believe is coming just now after the election results. So big reforms in the education sector will come.
Dr. Shah, I'm reminded of my own family about Atithi. My great-grandfather, my middle name, by the way, is Mambakkam. That it denotes the village from where I come. Now, this village sits on the crossroads of two main thoroughfares. I'm talking 100 plus years ago. Great-grandfather. What used to happen is, At 11 a.m., he would go and stand at the place where the two roads would meet. There were not that many buses. There were not, forget about cars, not even buses. People either traveled by bullock carts or they walked. At 11 o'clock, he would be waiting there at the crossroads, and people will come with reference slips saying that I'm from this village and I was asked to contact you, because there were no hotels at that point of time. So they were totally dependent. Whenever they were doing yatra, they were totally dependent on the benevolence of village chief or somebody who was, prosperous. And they used to wait at these places. So it is believed that my great-grandfather never ate alone lunch. Never in his life. Always there was an atithi. There were at least 5 or 6 people. In fact, the sun starts coming up, right? By 12:30, they are eaten the food. They would stay there for 2-3 hours until the sun starts falling down, and then they would resume their yatra. This has been the way this Sanatana economy and Dharma evolved. And with hotels and modern stuff, yeah, you have more flexibility, but that model was there in place till 100 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like, we are going back long ways, Dr. Shah. I mean,
no, even until our grandparents' time, there were some habits which you can clearly see. I mean, not just even humans. The first chapati goes to the cow. Okay.
Yes.
So even animals included. In fact, there are references of some kings in the south where they used to have a big bell in the town. They would ring that bell, and whoever comes would get rice and stuff like that, if anybody is empty stomach. Okay. Even in the evening, before the houses close up, their household work, they used to check out if anybody is empty stomach as yet, even outside on the street. So these were the kind of habits. Even otherwise, if I am to explain you what has horribly gone wrong, precisely in terms of social welfare, which even big capitalists announce these days, that I'm going to give this much money from my wealth as a donation. Now, what is happening? When 5% people accumulate this much wealth, eventually as they age, they realize, well, this is not what is giving us satisfaction, or this was not what the target was. So then what they go to a Dharma Guru. Dharma Guru will say, well, do one thing, put up a hospital here or put up a school here, which will be free of cost. Now, instead of going this way, that 5% is becoming so rich and then doing, in fact, all the black money going to the Dharma work, actually. But instead of going that way, the correct idea should have been what Sanatana Economics habits being like, say, on the books, on the account books, we write Sree Sava. That Sree Sava means I'm going to collect only 25% of cost as profit. I will not loot any of my customer more than this. That was a Dharmic cap on profits. So instead of 10-15 capitalists realizing at the end of their life phase and then wanting to do some donation, if we have a Dharmic understanding of how much profit accumulation or profit maximization should be done, if that happens, and that can actually happen only when you have the Gurukul education system set up, capitalists coming out of Gurukuls. That is the point in time you will have that kind of understanding and enlightenment. Till then, you are going to have this many capitalists, few of them realizing late in their life that they don't want to donate or do something good. So the real method is that even today's small shops, if you go and if you buy something, say we want 500 gram rice, the shopkeeper will again put one big amount of rice adding to that 500 gram. That is the Sanatana Economics model. The shopkeepers will put up an empty chair outside their shops until everybody in the lane gets their first customer. They will not take second customer. That is Sanatana Economics. Okay, so wealth accumulation, particularly because we do not have, according to me, in Sanatan, we do not have the concept of individual wealth. We have words like Sampatti and Lakshmi. Sam plus Patti means that wealth which is built together. Laksh plus me means that wealth which is put to a collective usage. तो आपको स्पेंड भी इंडिविजुअल करना अलाउड नहीं है. You cannot accumulate wealth individually, you cannot spend the wealth individually in Sanatana Economics model. Okay, तो individualism जो एडम स्मिथ का जो 60% डिवोर्स रेट्स जैसे आ रहा है, that comes from toxic individualism. Similarly, कार्ल मार्क्स का जो है, राइट, कि यूजेज भी करना है तो अकेले के लिए नहीं करना है. तो दोनों को ये काउंटर करने वाला सिर्फ सनातन इकोनॉमिक्स मॉडल है. नाउ देयर आर सम फंडामेंटल गैप्स इन टर्म्स ऑफ many macroeconomic principles, one of which I believe is banking. Ancient Bharat mein jab when would people go for taking loans? They will go for taking loans when it is ultra urgency to take a loan. Okay, Rolls Royce purchase करने के लिए लोन नहीं लेते थे एंशिएंट भारत में, ठीक है. दैट इज द फंडामेंटल डिफरेंस. तो अभी जिस प्रकार से बैंकिंग का स्प्रेड हुआ है, उसमें क्या हुआ है कि सारे प्राइसेस वो रोल्स रॉयस की लेवल पे लेके गए, छोटे मोटे प्रोडक्ट्स के भी, बिकॉज क्रेडिट वाज इजियर, राइट. तो जो एंशिएंट भारत का कॉन्सेप्ट था कि डेट बेस्ड मॉडल नहीं, इफ देयर इज सम अर्जेंसी देन ओनली यू टेक सम लोन. दैट इज नॉट द मॉडल टुडे. Today everybody is taking loan for X, Y, Z, anything. In fact, there are offers where if you buy on loan, there are more discounts, right? So this is a fundamental principle of banking difference between ancient Bharat and what is happening right now. There are references to ancient records of the Mandir ecosystem where it's clearly mentioned that somebody would want a loan for daughter's marriage. They would give a chitti to the pujari. The governance will arrange that loan, and the chitti will also mention कि भाई मैं इतने टाइम में लोन वापस कर दूंगा, मंदिर का पैसा है. तो एनपीएस का कोई सवाल ही नहीं, because as again I said, it's about the vigraha and everything is sacred for us. So there is no case of a non-performing asset when a loan is taken from the Mandir ecosystem. That's the biggest benefit of the Mandir ecosystem. I mean, today, tier 1 cities, there are many NPAs which are happening. In fact, there are many NPAs of capitalists happening, which the governments simply write it off just because they got election fund campaign money from them. Okay, this is what is exactly happening in the West. So, I think there are big gaps in terms of basic macroeconomic principles. How hopeful I am? Well, this will require the, as I said, revival of Mandir ecosystem. Until that happens, humanity is going to see this kind of turbulences which Adam Smith and Karl Marx creates in the society.
Dr. Shah, what we are going around about, redistribution of wealth, without thinking about it, somebody says something and then everybody laps it up, thinking that anything that says free is going to fetch me a vote. And look at the tremendous pushback that is coming. And now Pitroda has actually been disowned by his own party. I mean, what he said was you took one extreme instant and then made it look as if the whole America has inheritance tax. That's BS. So now everybody has told, like, look, there are living trusts and wills, living wills and trusts, I should say. And these change from state to state. But by and large, if you have one, then you don't pay the 55% inheritance tax that you're talking about. So that has been completely roundly debunked. However, there was one other thing, and this is the last question, then we'll have a few questions from our viewers. There is something that you said in the tweet today, that the American system is eyeing at the assets of people, especially from the South Asian origin, because the concept of credit card in the West has become a little bit loose now. Many intend to pay the minimum down payment. Many intend to have zero balance. The twain are totally different. One is taking it only for need. The other one is taking it because it is there.
Mm-hmm. So, right? this is exactly why your borders are open, right? Because in Abrahamic economics, you are deploying women for a temporary GDP unit of labor. Job as an empowerment, as I say, came 400 years back with pound as a single country reserve currency, that endless printing machine. Now that your women have gone into jobs, the birth rates are gone. So in the debt-based economic model of Adam Smith's capitalism, which is vying for growth, what happens is you are stealing from the pocket of the future generation, taking loans and consuming right now. Along with that, with the same Abrahamic economics, what the West is doing is deploying women and have lost the birth rates. So then who's going to pay the debt? If you don't want to produce the future generation, want to steal from their pocket and consume right now, who's going to pay the debts? So the West has very correctly realized the problem that if they don't open the borders, the financial systems would collapse, which is exactly why the European Union and the United States have opened up their borders. Because you don't want to give birth to the future generation, but want to take loans and consume right now. That cannot go on for eternity, right? And as soon as we are seeing a lot of de-dollarization moves across Asia, in fact, Russia has declared that all the Russian and the Chinese trade has shifted out. So, with this kind of moves happening globally, the borders had to be opened up. And I'm very concerned about how long this model West can continue. As I've been predicting that since last 2 years, I've been saying that US is aligned on the de-dollarization process and is de-dollarizing with Bitcoin. Frankly speaking, we should be grateful to the US that US is de-dollarizing with Bitcoin, because if US would be de-dollarizing with gold, gold would have been 1.5 lakh right now. Because BRICS are already de-dollarizing with gold. If US also chooses to de-dollarize with gold instead of Bitcoin, then gold would have been 1.5 lakh right now, right at the moment. So
when you say Bitcoin, you're meaning digital currency, isn't it? I mean, digital form of currency. Not
no, exactly. I'm talking Bitcoin. So, I mean, since last 2 years, the flow that has happened in the Bitcoin, the ETFs which are being approved, and statements coming out from the globalist, spokesperson saying this is as good as digital gold. I think this I predicted on PGurus itself. I don't remember which month, one and a half years back.
So, yeah, you've been a regular since about a year and a half. Yes.
So I had predicted that they are going to promote Bitcoin as digital gold because they don't want Americans to line up at the banks, submit dollars and rush for gold. Maybe they don't have, maybe they don't want to give whatsoever. But to my understanding, I'm very clear since day one, since 7 days before Biden took oath, that US is aligned on the de-dollarization process. They are de-dollarizing with Bitcoin. As soon as the BRICS will be ready with the new formula, Bitcoin will be done.
Well, viewers, on the West Coast, Phoenix City is considered a retirement paradise because of the lower cost of living and the very nice climate. If you land at the Phoenix airport, one of the biggest airports in the United States, if you go there, you'll have all these ATMs where you can trade Bitcoins for dollars and vice versa. So what Dr. Shah is saying has actually already happened. And I brought this up in a Daily Global Insights episode also. So interesting times in front of us. And viewers, let's now, sorry, Dr. Shah, if you don't mind, let's take a few questions now.
Sure.
Magnet Ranga wants to know, is Congress serious or was it just an election gimmick? Also, what else could they think of? Inheritance tax was not in the manifesto, but now they are talking about it.
See, Magnet Ji, Congress jo hai, wo, these are gone cases now. These are such an idiot kind of bunch of people that they don't realize the ambitions of this young India. I mean, there are lakhs and lakhs of voters who are going to be voting for the first time, and if they hear this kind of ideas of wealth redistribution, मैंने एक tweet डाला था that there's a story of one monkey and two cats and how that monkey distributes the chapati, right? You all know how they redistribute. So this is exactly what Congress is offering. Nobody is going to fall for it because this is not the I think they are living under some kind of a delusion. The very fact that they brought wealth redistribution in the manifesto, that shows that they have no clue about the people of this country. I mean, even the poorest of poor will not buy this idea. And they've been doing this. I mean, whichever state they come to power, Karnataka we have seen they immediately declare everything for free and bankrupt the state. Everybody understands from whose pocket these freebies come. Okay, so even if this idea, this horrible idea of mapping everybody's wealth, collecting and then redistributing, this almost sounds like some even worse than some communist regime. So I don't think anybody is going to. It's a very big mistake that they have done, and the voters are not going to take this down lightly. The Prime Minister is right that he pointed out that this is what is coming, and these fools can actually do it. The shocking part is these fools would actually do it if they come to power. So very horrible, and the people are taking cognizance of this. Whatever little fence-sitters that would be wondering where to vote, even they will get scared after this kind of declarations in the manifesto. Even if it was a gimmick, it was a very wrong gimmick.
Next question, Partha, thank you so much. StudyIQ IAS video on Vasuki Indicus shows Bharat still not merged with Eurasian plate during its time. We can use paleontology in reviving our past.
Parthaji, I have no clue. I'm not an expert.
Yeah, I have also not done much on this.
No clue.
Thank you for your donation, and thank you, Temple Economy. Dipendas, thank you so much. How is welfare different from freebies? Is state-provided healthcare and education compliant with Sanatana economic regulations?
Dipenji, welfare should be actually empowering. Freebies is a direct product or a service. So I do not like the idea of giving someone a direct product or service, because when a government body buys a ready product and service and then distributes it for free, one, there is no control over the pricing from where the government buys these products. Second, for the general population, that particular product or service artificially inflates in pricing, which we are seeing in the West. What has happened with Medicare? There's a joke whether NRIs come searching for roots or not, but for root canal they will come to Bharat. So there's a joke. So this is what happens with ready-made freebie product. The prices of that product shoots up through the roof. So there's another problem with that. Third, there is complete carelessness with respect to claiming those freebies, because those people who would not even need it will go for it, right? So there's a fundamental problem with a direct freebie product. I'm not okay with that kind of stuff. Welfare, how welfare should be? Minimum food security, water supply, electricity supply, education में आप help कर सकते हो, coaching का help कर सकते हो, not a direct job or a direct admission into a seat. Okay, welfare should be such the benefit should trickle down over years to the person who is taking that welfare. Okay, so actually the election commission should come up with a formula saying if you want to announce some welfare scheme, nothing doing 2 years prior to the election. So automatically the parties will design the scheme in a way where they give a benefit 2 years later during the election time, the benefits will trickle down, which will be an empowering benefit rather than a direct freebie product. I think that is how you can game the system and maybe do welfare instead of a freebie.
Education has always been free in the Sanatana economic system. Gurukuls never charge any money. What used to happen was if you came and dropped off your ward and the son spent 5-6 years going through Gurukul, and depending on his skill set, he got some specialization, the parents would periodically visit them, and whatever they grew in their land, that's what they gave. It's the same concept that Dr. Shah says, that you take a certain amount of money or food produced and then you donate it. And one of them was for the kids' education. They did that. And the senior boys, as they grew up, they managed the entire thing, cooking, cleaning, chores, making sure that material was available. Everything was done. It was a self-contained ecosystem. Do read Dharampal's A Beautiful Tree, people, because that is nothing but essays written by visiting Englishmen about how the Gurukul system was working in India. Because it will also open your eyes to caste stuff. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, just to add one point, this is a fundamental thing which people do not elaborate, where the question comes, why do we want Gurukul in the Mandir campus? This is a primary question that comes. So let me explain here why Gurukul has to be in the Mandir campus. Because as we know that the fees should not be paid by the student to the Guru directly. If that happens, then we are back to square one, which is right now. The student is going to think of a customer and a service provider relationship. And you know what happens as a consequence of that. Okay. So the money has to go through the Murti. So the community will give devote to the Murti. That Murti in the Mandir ecosystem will sponsor the lifestyle and the research work that the gurus need to do. The gurus can only take money as Guru Dakshina after the student demonstrates the skill for which he has come there to learn. Okay, then only he can directly charge something. So what is the benefit of this? The benefit of this, the Murti cuts out the Karl Marx entitlement of the student कि मैंने तो fees भरा है. Okay, and that Adam Smith arrogance of the one who is donating the money, right? वो भी मंदिर में दे रहा है, तो he can't show any kind of arrogance, which is why some specific kind of transactions have to happen through the murtis of the mandir and not directly by the two parties. Okay, this is a fundamental difference between Sanatana economics and what the rest of the models are. Now, which is why I have written in my book, which is upcoming, that the top 100 richest people in the world should be the 100 vigrahas of the mandir. It should not be individuals. It should not be families. It should not be corporations. It should not be the state. Because any of the four becoming the top richest 100 in the world is damaging for the planet. So Indian Mandir Murtis should be the top 100 richest people in the world.
Dr. Shah, I'm sure you know this. The Travancore kingdom or the Thiruvananthapuram, the kings, they said they were all dasas of the Padmanabha Swami. One of the grandest murtis that you'll ever see in India. 15 feet long, reclining, and with Brahma coming from the Nabhi of Vishnu. It's a sight to behold, and the entire thing is made of gold. You have three entrances: the face, the midriff, and the legs portion.
That's exactly how, as I said, the top 100 richest people in the world should be the Vigrahas. Because anyone else, individuals coming in the top 100, they will damage the planet. Families coming in the top 100, they will damage the planet. State coming in the top 100, they will devastate the planet. Right? So that is not what we want.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, Dr. Shah. I think we have one more question. I think it's just more of an observation. Woodtoff, thank you so much for your donation. Colleges putting out millions of computer graduates.
Putting out millions of... So what is the question?
Putting out. Yeah, I think what he's saying is he's concerned that there is pushing in a certain direction of education.
So Woodtoff ji, my understanding is the format that I foresee in terms of how industry is going to behave. They are going to hire students for 2-3 years and then it's over. Then they will hire another batch of youngsters, 2-3 years, and it's over. This is what looks like to me, specifically when I hear artificial intelligence, impact in the West. This is what they are trying to bring in. So I'm anyways, our model was never like that. It was British who wanted to convert all colonies into नौकरों वाला देश. तो मैं तो मानता ही नहीं हूँ job model में कोई भी any person who's going to ask me, I am going to say entrepreneurship, right? So these are not our models. Job model is not an empowerment. Don't look it as empowerment. It is not going to be the case when we move into a multi-polar currency, multi-currency world order. Job is not going to be an empowerment model as soon as we shift to a multi-currency basket world. And if there is any geography where jobs will still be there in a nice quantity, it's only going to be Bharat. Let me be very clear about it. Because rest of the world, especially West, working on the kind of technologies, because they think men are just a factor of production. So they think that they will put all men, make them unproductive, give them a universal basic income. वो 3-4 साल में mentally भी depressed हो जाएगा, उसका कोई value ही नहीं बचेगा. So these are not our models. This is what is going to happen in the West. So Bharat is secured in that way, and we are actually lucky to have this kind of leadership that we have. Everybody's duty now to vote him back to power so that he withstands these global powers and does not let down foreign models, interfere with the policy decisions here. You've already seen how Elon Musk is behaving with Brazil. We're already seeing how other the media, international media, interfering with the elections in the country. So we have to bring back this government to power with a thumping majority, and that is our duty.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shah. And Tushar wants to say, look forward to your videos. Clarify so much for people like me. So well researched and logical conclusions. Thank you so much, Tushar ji. And Dr. Shah, always a pleasure having you on our channel. If there's a complaint, it is that we don't have you often enough. So hopefully we'll make this a regular regular thing. And viewers, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. And as always, a pleasure having you, sir. We'll be back with you very soon. Namaskar.
Jai.